Yes, so I got my session of Beatmaker 3 loaded up. So this is just a beat breakdown in the style of like Take Key Glock, Big Scarr, those hard hitting piano beats. Just another breakdown on how I catch the vibe within these beats as well. So we're starting off from 150 BPM. So here I kind of did like a D sharp minor. So I went up 3 semitones and went up the 4 semitones here. So this is the 7th, 3rd. So as you can see, I laid out some of the basic chord progression that I do here. Sometimes, you know, you can go up or go down 4 semitones. So let's have a little listen to this. And for the effects on this, I just added in a high pass filter, just cutting off some of the low end and a slight little reverb with 5% mix here. So as always, the formula, just starting off with like bass notes to kind of get the vibe of the beat, filling up that lower frequency first just to kind of get that foundation. And then for the second part, I added in a second piano. So for this piano here, this is in a higher octave than the bass note, because the bass note started off with D sharp minor 1. D sharp minor 1, this is D sharp minor 2. So this is something just to make it sound a bit more full, to kind of go over all the different levels. The exact same as D sharp minor 1, the same kind of like progression, but just put up an octave to make it sound a bit more full. Now for the second part, I put something in the middle to high frequencies. This is kind of like my main little piano melody that I'll put in here, just kind of following the root note and just using all the notes within the D sharp scale. I'm pretty much kind of going up the scale here, just very simply going up, playing in the middle, then going down. I either like to go down within each note within the scale, or you can go upwards. So let's have a little listen to see what this sounds like. So for the effects on this one here, I just did a little high pass filter, again taking them more off the low end. So we've got some space for like the low end, and this one just to kind of sit within the middle to high frequencies. And then adding a little bit of reverb here just to make it sound a bit softer, and just to give it that kind of like softer sit within the mix as well. And then I got a version 2 of this. So with the version 2, I kind of bring this in later on within the beat, just to kind of give it some variation and just kind of a little bit of some trippy effects as well to go with that, the lower end and other sounds of the piano. So for the effects on this one, I've got the perforator, my go-to kind of gate plugin. And so this kind of adds some elements within the input signal just to give it that trippy effect, and the same high pass within the same frequency, same reverb, and I added just a little bit of pan flow. And this is kind of like your free alternative to like pancake, or just something that gives an auto pan effect. So it switches between the left and right within your headphones or in the stereo, so that just gives it a nice effect. I got that on 68% mix here. And this is here something in the higher octave of the pianos. You work from D sharp 1 to D sharp 2. Now this is in the D sharp 3, kind of like middle octave / higher. So this is kind of a little pattern that I've put in. And as I explained earlier on, as the other one, I kind of started off with the root note and kind of went up the scale. This one, I'm starting off with the root note in a higher octave and kind of going down. So let's see what this sounds like. So this one here doesn't start straight away. The thing that I like to kind of play around with is kind of do like a call and response. So you can hear the bass note go in, and then this is like the response, and then the bass note hits in again, and this is kind of like the response, just so you're not putting too many things all the way through. This is something that gives it that nice extra element to kind of listen to. So for the effects on this one, a high pass filter again, just so this is a bit more of the mid-range to high end that we're listening to. The same perforate effect with the gate plugin and a bit of reverb as well. So let's have a little listen to kind of like all of these elements kind of play together. So just to kind of add a little bit of those trap elements towards the loop, I added in a trap bell. So I added in a string effect here. This is for the world synth. Literally, it's got even better. It's got some really nice violins in here. And yeah, this is the motive violin from the orchestral strings bank. And for the effects, Flux Mini 2, and this is kind of like similar to like Kickstart, just anything with like side chaining. This is one of my go-to plugins and it's free, and a little bit of reverb as well. So let's listen to the full thing together. So I've got my respacers just to make it a bit of like a starter loop, so something to have as a part of the intro. Got loads of different respacers in here. Some wavy ones. All these within my Realist Drum Kit Volume 1. So have a little listen to this. So that's it, that's kind of like the start of the loop, and all it is adding some hard hitting drums to it, but definitely with the piano sound it's giving me like Take Key vibes, Key Glock definitely when you hear the drum pattern, and Big Scarr too. So I started off with one of my snares, going on every kind of like half bar. So this is my snare, and then I add a little filter snare just on the offset. This is kind of like the same similar hi-hat bounce. And just a little shaker. And then here, just some of my hi-hat roll accents here. And then as a little bit of a perk effect, just added in that trap perk. The 808s, just the spins with a bit of distortion, a bit of high-end oomph as well that I've added in. So I think this sits in perfectly. Starting off on the root note here and then ending on the 7th, so just playing between these two bits here. So let's have a little listen to that. So I find with those kind of like Key Glock, Take Key, it's like the root, then up the 7th, root, up the 7th, and then the 3rd, instead of it straight being like on the root note, like on every hit. And as a bit of a variation, I always like to do a second part as well. And what I find with most of these kind of like Take Key for let the bands play, the kind of the 808s, they kind of have like a stop and start. Sometimes they don't ride all the way through. So I made a little bit of an adjustment with this one. So it just gives it a vibe when the kicks just come in. And then what I like to do is just kind of like mix up the 808s with the two patterns here with the variation, and just also you can just let it run with the respace in the background as well. Hard. So yeah, just a quick one, you know, a little piano type beat in a style of Key Glock Big Scarr. I think in my next video I'm gonna switch it up a bit, might just do like a guitar trap beat, or even a UK rap beat, or even an afro. So just let me know in the comments below what kind of video that you want me to do next. If you're liking the content on the video, consider subscribing, hit that notification bell, help this channel grow, and see you out on the next one. Peace.